Howdy folks, Lisa here at Everything is a Lie again. Welcome or welcome back as the case may be. Where have I been? Now there's a question. I dropped off the radar again, didn't I? So not long after my last video, Everything is a Mine, I made a stand against the Masonic system. In other words, I exited the Masonic system entirely, breaking all contracts and ties with the birth certificate fraud I was deceptively contracted to as an infant. Some of you might know it as the Justinian deception. For this, I had to throw out all contracts with government and Masonic entities by the side of a public road. It was a big stand, and it went reasonably well in that the Masonic goons they sent to harass me picked up many of the contracts from the ground, and they, according to their own ridiculous rules, owe me $1 billion for each one. That is, each one of my personal papers that pertained to a Masonic entity was them contracting Freemasonry to me. Idiots. So how many did they collect? It was only a small expansion file, but they left with a good fistful. How many billions? Well, many is all I can say, but how many have they paid me for? Well, none, as you'd expect from such criminal frauds as Freemasons. Instead, they attacked me. I'll come back to that in a sec. It's an ugly process as per their rules. You have to poop, to put it nicely, on each contract to void it. It must also be done roadside, a public road that is. Therefore, the bus was the place to do it from. Gross, but simple. After disposing of all my contracts by the side of the road, I then emptied my porta-potty toilet on top of them. Utter filth. But again, this is their process, and it spared me the indignity of having to embarrass myself by the side of the road. With this bizarre ritual complete, not only did I exit the system entirely, but because I am the first to successfully complete it, this means that I bought back the farm, as they call it, meaning that I have ended their control over the entire realm. I love it when control freaks lose control. It has been a waiting game since September, as they tried many ways to usurp me and recontract me. Everything is an offer, and their goons are everywhere. After trying to keep a low profile out in the country regions, I eventually came unstuck when Queensland cops physically attacked me in mid-December last year. It was a failed attempt on my life, and it is only by the grace of the Creator, or something like that, that I'm still here to recount the tale. After refusing more offers, they smashed the window and unlocked the door. At that moment, as they stormed me, I thought, that's it, I'm dead for sure. 8 armed police against a 56-year-old woman and her cat. I survived, but my beloved best friend Minnie did not. I was dragged out of the bus, put face down in the long grass, handcuffed, hauled back to my feet, frisked, then shut in the back of a police wagon and taken to Coomera Police Station. I had made good use of their body cams and had commentated on multiple offers and contracts, punctuating them with, I do not accept any offers or contracts. This had them on report immediately for trying to recontract me. On arrival at the station, I was immediately uncuffed, which made no sense whatsoever, and I was then taken to a small interview room where several of them crowded the doorway to watch the spectacle. Next up, they wheeled in an ambulance gurney into the hall, and I was faced with a senior ambulance officer who then tried to contract me again, this time to psychiatry, by telling me that I was having a psychotic episode. I was dumbfounded, but definitely not psychotic. The adrenaline helped me keep my wits, and I pronounced him incompetent to one of the onlookers' body cams. He does not know the difference between normal conversation and a psychotic episode. He is incompetent. Absolute moron. Like I don't know what a psychotic episode is. But this is their game, to get you locked up and drugged to the eyeballs. Again, without consent, I was forced onto the gurney and strapped down. They drove me to Gold Coast University Hospital for psychiatric assessment. This was a big mistake on their part, as being taken by ambulance meant that I had to go through accident and emergency rather than being taken by squad car straight to the psychiatric ward. There was no triage whatsoever. The hospital were negligent in that respect, and I was basically left the entire night in the main hallway under a camera. At some point, I had my temperature and blood pressure taken and was offered a sandwich. It was not until morning that the head of psychiatry stopped by and made a total fool of himself by asking completely inappropriate questions and walked away shamed, leaving me with an embarrassed student who apologised for him. Their second attempt, some 12 hours after my fictitious psychotic episode, was their second in charge. She embarrassed herself as well, then tried being overly familiar with me, which fell flat immediately. She then attempted to correctly question me. I got the date wrong by a day. That was considered a pass. She then asked me who the Prime Minister of Australia was, to which I responded, I don't know, I don't watch TV. Strangely, that was a pass as well. She agreed, saying, no, I don't either. Finally, some sense. We talked briefly about the police and their actions before she declared that I was perfectly sane and seemed highly intelligent to her. She clarified herself by telling me that I was unfairly persecuted by the police. I was released that morning with only my 10-year-old iPad with the dodgy screen, my previously hacked iPhone with no SIM card in it, my reading glasses, my debit card, and my shoes, but without any socks. I had these and the clothes on my back, plus false details of where Minnie was meant to be held, and an offer to recontract to the Masonic system in the form of an impound notice with charges for the bus. My bus, which has been my home for over 3 years, has been unlawfully impounded ever since, and the only way to get it back is to recontract myself and the entire realm with it. I will not comply. I was forced out onto the streets and have been homeless for 2 months, living on donations to feed and clothe myself. Funds were tight as it was, and then I was rendered homeless entirely. Not a safe place for anyone, especially a woman. I spent many nights walking until dawn, as there are no safe places to sleep. I was turned away from backpacker hostels because I wasn't travelling with the approved identification or amongst their preferred demographic. I washed in disabled toilets with a face washer. I ate sporadically as funds permitted and barely slept at all. In utter desperation, I bought a cheap tent so I could camp in a caravan park and have access to bathroom and cooking facilities. This was the only way to adequately feed myself and not eat takeout garbage. When I was almost down to zero in the bank again, I had to catch an overnight train back to New South Wales, where I've been slowly recuperating at a relative's house. It's not a good place to be, but it's a roof and a place to lay my $7.50 inflatable mattress from Kmart. I'm okay. I'm hanging in there, as they say, but the pain and misery of it all haunts me, especially the loss of my beautiful fur baby, Minnie. I had managed to find the correct address for the vet that she was allegedly given to, only to find out that she was never there. They murdered her that night, and I still mourn the loss. Excuse me. She was the best co-driver a girl could ever ask for. I miss her every day. 9 years, my bestie. I guess you could say the bastards finally got me, and yet After everything they've done to me, I'm still here. I'm still alive. I hope you'll stick with me moving forward as I get my feet back under me and get back to making real videos. I still have a lot left to show you and some fascinating rocks to look at. I also have many tales to tell. Next up, I will have some uncursing for you. I've been working through some uncursing from Freemasonry and from the TV. They don't call it broadcasting for nothing. We've all been hexed and cursed repeatedly by the tell-lie vision. So for those of you who have thrown it out completely, this will be a huge benefit. Those of you still watching it will be interested in just how evil the idiot box is. Until next time, my friends, stay safe. Much love to you all, and thanks for being with me today. As always, I appreciate your time. Bye for now.